What's up, everybody? This is Jeff from BKJ Mag TV, and this is the BKJ Mag podcast coming at you live. Alright, check this out. This is episode 31, and this episode is pretty unique. Last night I was watching this documentary on Peacock. Peacock is a streaming service by Channel 4. It's a really great streaming app. You get to watch wrestling, get to watch everything. It's for $4.99 a month. That is a steal. You get to watch wrestling and all your favorite shows and movies that are being basically produced by the Peacock umbrella. So if you're ever around, please subscribe to Peacock. $4.99 a month. You can't beat that price. Anyway, I was watching this documentary on there. The name of the documentary is called because it's still around currently. I Love You, You Hate Me. Basically, the documentary about Barney, the purple dinosaur. Now, I know everybody who's listening to this podcast right now, the old heads will know who Barney was back in the day. You know, Barney has been around for God knows how long. Big purple dinosaur and stuff like that. Made songs about, saying I love you, you love me. Try to create this sense of security and warmth and inclusiveness. However, this documentary talks about the you hate me. Basically, they were a gang of trolls. Like, I'm talking about some lame trolls who basically made it their business, their ridiculous lame purpose to attack a preschool dinosaur that was basically there to help encourage kids to feel good, to love one another, to enjoy the space that they were in. They basically came in and basically bashed Barney. We're talking about TV shows. We're talking about sports arena with this lame mascot who basically used a fake Barney and attacked him in front of a crowd to basically make these adults feel good that they're attacking a dinosaur, which was basically directed at preschoolers. Granted, they showed the history of how Barney was created. They said that the creators didn't want Barney to have any conflict. They made the songs repetitive. It was meant for 3-year-olds. Because when you're 2 years old, when you're 3 years old, all you want to see is things being repeated over and over again. So you're building muscle memory. You're getting better and better, and you're reinforcing their mind and their behavior with love and kindness and compassion. And what these people did, in some ways, maybe they should have added some conflict to it. But some of the outsiders, the negative outsiders, basically tore into that idea. They tore into that fabric, which was pretty stupid and was pretty reckless. And I'm like, how do you do something like that? It was pretty ridiculous. So in the documentary, it really goes in depth. They actually interviewed the voice actor for Barney, an old dude. With a beard, and he talked about how he ended up getting the job by making funny voices when he was younger, and he decided to get paid for it, and that's how he got up. He did so well, and they said, that's the voice of Barney. And the costume originally was this tall white dude who was a mime basically, and he decided he couldn't be the Barney no more, because this to move, they need someone that move around the suit. So they got this David Journer, black dude, was tantra, who was into tantra, and basically he became the person inside Barney, doing Barney's movements and whatnot. And it made the kids laugh. It was entertaining and stuff like that. The creator of Barney, she wanted to do something for her kid. Her name is Sarah Lynch, basically from Allen, Texas, and she wanted to create something for her kid. Here's the article from CNN by Brian Larey. Aside from planting that song in everybody's head again, I love you, you hate me, is an amusing look back at the Barney and Friends phenomenon and the over-the-top torrents of hostility the PBS children's show elicited. Basically, think about it. A PBS show, public broadcasting station. Like, seriously. The lames out there that went out there bashing Barney, that was on public broadcasting station, wasn't on WB, wasn't on Fox, wasn't on CBS, wasn't on ABC, it was on PBS. And these 14-year-olds, these 16-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds had an issue with that because they said that Barney wasn't real. They called him a communist, and they showed depictions, the images of shooting him, burning him, and stepping all over him. Like, what kind of repressed sociopathic desire are you displaying on camera? You need help. Those people needed help. They needed psychological help. The fact that they did this to a stuffed animal that was geared towards 3-year-olds, I mean, it really made you think for a minute, like, why would they do something like that? It was pretty stupid, and it was pretty lame, and it was pretty creepy and crazy. And those adults, teenagers, and those adults doing that are pretty, like, they needed help badly. Anyway, let me see. Yet the 2-part documentary is also the soapy story of the creator and her family, which ends up eclipsing the overreaching impulse to connect the purple dinosaur to something more culturally profound. Conceived by Sarah Lynch, a resident of Allen, Texas in 1988, Barney became an instant favorite among toddlers, in part because of his simple repetition and cheerfully cut-rate production values. The show also hit a nerve at the dawn of the social media era, as Bob West, the original voice of Barney, observes, with music director Bob Singleton noting that material tailored to a 3-year-old will drive a grown-up crazy. Basically, the song, in the early parts of the documentary, when they were talking about the songs and the song choices, it was geared towards little preschoolers, like children, like 3 years old, but it drove adults crazy. They couldn't stand watching it over and over again because it pissed them off. But again, it's not meant for you. It was meant for the little kids, because little kids love repetition. It's to develop their mind, and it's to keep them engaged, not for the adults to be like, oh my god, this is so cool. No, it wasn't meant for that. And I felt like some of these adults took it to the level where it was extreme, visceral, and it should not have gone down like that. Anyway, by tapping into an underserved, fresh out of diapers demographic, Lynch became fabulously wealthy, eventually selling the company for $275 million. But the popularity of Barney exacted an almost Shakespearean toll on her family, including her son Patrick, who is suggested suffered for growing up in the shadow of a felt-covered sibling whose fame eclipsed him. Basically, Barney eclipsed Patrick in a sense, but the character Barney was created for Patrick, for Patrick to enjoy and to, because there wasn't really shows geared towards his age group aside from Sesame Street. They wanted to do something different, something unique, and that's how the conception of Barney came about. And yes, the Barney franchise literally did destroy that family. Um, in the documentary, if you ever get a chance to watch it, I mean, it's pretty tough. It's with what happened with the father. It's pretty sad. It's really, really sad. And if you do get a chance on watching it, it's pretty crazy. The father ends up taking his life because he's depressed, and they actually end up getting divorced. And that's when a couple of years he takes his life, and it's pretty sad. It's just pretty sad. Here's the quote. It states, "All that success came at a price," says Andrew Olson, a devotee of Barney history and its memorabilia. Oh, that was on with all the different Barney dolls in the room. I was like kind of weirded out by that, but he's a memorabilia collector, so it is what it is. There are other strange details in director Tommy Elvin's film, like how the original actor inside the Barney suit, David Joyner, found it too good to be true for media purposes anyway. Second career as a tantanic massage therapist and healer. A practice that included, by his admission, sleeping with at least some of his clients, which was kind of wild. He sleeps with them to cleanse them of their spiritual, sexual aggressions and makes them whole again. It is what it is. Tantra, the Tantanic, whatever it is what it is. Still, I Love You really wants to emphasize the visceral fling at Barney, the "you hate me" part, as evidence of a nasty turn in the culture during those years, from the snarky attitude embodied by David Letterman to the daily fistfights on a Jerry Springer talk show. It's a original point at first, but one the documentary overplays, especially when there's so much odd, specific stuff about the show to mine here. Sure, the Barney bashing, such as the incident with the famous San Diego chicken, which is kind of crazy with the San Diego chicken, that's one I was alluded to earlier, sailed into the ridiculous. But what that says America, though, during those years doesn't necessarily represent any kind of a straight line. There are also rather arbitrary voices brought into the mix, such as NBC's Al Roker, which merely underscores that the list of people with something profound to share about Barney, which was canceled in 2000, is relatively short. I Love You, You Hate Me has already generated media attention for Peacock, so score it as a win by that measure. But while the project captures a very specific moment in time, it runs out of insight before its time is up. It does, in a sense, but the insight, in a sense, it's not meant. You got to look at it in a sense like this Barney character, as it was created for preschoolers, ends up destroying a family. Makes a family very rich, but ends up destroying a family. Why we never really understand why the father committed suicide. We understood that he was depressed, but we don't understand what created his depression. We understood he had to stay at home and tend to the house care. How did that happen? Why did that happen? Why wasn't the father just basically working with the mom in the office? I think there were certain things that were left out, but the thing why it was left out, because the creative Barney decided not to partake in the interview process, which I credited as a negative loss, big time, for the documentary. To give the documentary full validity, the creator of Barney needed to be there. She needed to talk about why she did what she did and why she created the character. Instead they use archival footage of her interviews to basically create why she made the character. But we wanted to hear from her present day, her point of view now, and how she's living now, and why she did what she did, and what drove her to sell the franchise for such a large amount of money, and talk about the personal situations in her family. I mean, especially with Patrick, because Patrick's name was mentioned throughout the documentary as the person of interest in terms of why Barney was created for his age group. We never really get an understanding of Patrick and why the Barney did he dislike Barney? Did he like Barney? What was it about Barney that really, that was so paramount in his life? We never really understand that in the documentary. I felt like they really just focused on the visceral part of the hate me part, which I was shocked. I didn't know that it was that bad. A lot of hatred, a lot of it, like especially from Dave Letterman. Guys like David Letterman is a classic douchebag from back in the day. It is what it is. They just made fun of a big dinosaur, a purple dinosaur that was geared towards 3-year-olds, children like preschoolers, fresh out of diapers. So, overall, looking at it, it's pretty wild. Barney didn't deserve all that hate. Barney deserved kindness and sincerity. Yes, the songs drove adults crazy, but it was not geared towards adults. It was geared towards little kids to help them improve their muscle memory, to create a sense of happiness, inclusiveness, and whatnot. It was not geared towards adults, and that's what they could not understand. So again, I don't know if Barney could make a comeback in this day and age. Maybe revamp the attitude in a sense, not to drive adults crazy, because they'd be the ones sitting with their kids, their preschoolers, while they're watching the show. So maybe they need to change it and adopt the Sesame Street approach. Honestly, overall, that's my take on the Barney documentary. You love me, I hate you take. I mean, it's a crazy, when you see it, it's wild. I mean, you'll be shocked by some of the scenes by watching it in the documentary. So it's on Peacock. So download it, $4.99 a month. Check it out, the documentary. This was episode 31 of the Barney segment. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, always. One.